Oh, 1-800-449-8255. And look at you on this Monday, April 24, 23. I don't know. My birthday's coming up, April 27th. Clark the Shark is a Taurus, and I'm turning 58 years young. Taurus, conservative, boring, stay at home, hardworking, makes a lot of money. Everything that was Clark the Shark until I got skin cancer and wrecked both knees doing swimming pools for 30 years. But now, of course, you all know me as the fabulous Sharky on the amazing Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255, the Wolfman Jack on crack from the awesome golden EIB Sharkraphone. It's not a microphone, people. It's a Sharkraphone on little Sharky's overground garage, baby. I'm talking about the Kinks, the Green Album, Everybody's in SHOW-BIZ. The first Green Album, of course, the next Green Album is that amazing one, Schoolboys in Disgrace, from 1975. One of two Kinks albums from 1975, and they're totally different. But we're not talking about those Kinks albums today. We're going to talk about one of the most amazing Kinks albums ever recorded, ever released, and of course, Everybody's in SHOW-BIZ from 1972 is the follow-up to 1971's Muswell Hillbillies, which of course is one of the greatest albums in all rock and roll, and Percy, also from 1971, another great Kinks album. But this album here from 1972, the studio songs on here, of course, are all awesome. But this one came with a little live album attached to it. And it is an awesome live Kinks album. I'm not really going to talk about the live album because, live albums are, they're just, and, unless it's something like The Who, Live at Leeds, and it's just super incredible like that. Me, Clark the Shark, I don't really do live albums. But of course, out there, you guys all know Clark the Shark. Oh, he's just the world's greatest drummer. Everybody in Torrance, Redondo Beach, Palos Verdes, Hermosa Beach, Gardena, San Pedro, Long Beach. They're like, oh, Clark the Shark's music is like just generic and lame and boring. He's not very good at songwriting, and he can't play guitar at all. But he's the world's greatest drummer. Clark the Shark from the Greenhouse Effect. Oh, yeah, listen to the geniuses from the South Bay, Torrance and Redondo Beach. Oh, you guys are just known on the level of Clark the Shark out there in Torrance, aren't you? Dude, nobody fucking ever heard of you guys. But people all over the world, baby, they have heard of Clark the Shark from the Greenhouse Effect. Oh, yeah, baby, indeed. At 1-800-449-8255. And believe me, I don't mean to toot my own horn here on the Clark the Shark Show, but you guys around the South Bay, Hermosa Beach, Torrance, Redondo Beach, you guys love to sit there and watch my music videos. Oh, you're such fans of my drumming, aren't you? You seem to like my songs because my matrix, Google Analytics, tells me that the South Bay sits there more than the rest of the country. And you guys love to watch every song by Clark the Shark. Star, Brandy, It Ain't Easy, The White Black Song, Ben is Dead, Winer's Diner, Social Climbers, Precarious, The Magic Man, all the shit with Phil Keegan. You guys love my drumming, but it looks like you really do like my songs and my voice and my guitar. You love me. Why don't you just come up and hug me, South Bay, and just admit it that you love me. You love Clark the Shark at 1-800-449-8255. But you guys are too big a cowards to come forward and just admit we all love Clark the Shark. But let's keep it a dirty little secret. Let's make Shark still think that everybody hates him. That works like a charm, huh? All you guys do then is feed that sharky ego even more at 1-800-449-8255, the fabulous Clark the Shark Show. And you give me ammunition to talk about Ray Davies and the fabulous Kinks Green Album 1972, baby. One of my favorite Kinks albums. And I really consider this part one of, Preservation Act 1, the Yellow Album from 1973. I consider that part two of, it's like a trilogy. There's the Green Album, this one, and of course the Live Album, but then the Yellow Album. It's like a neat little trilogy, but people would say, no, Clark the Shark, Preservation 1 and 2, that's the trilogy. But I'm like, I don't know, man. To me, it's like there's 6 discs of music there. There's these two on this Green Album, then the Yellow one, and then, the 2 on Preservation 1 and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I really sort of consider Muswell Hillbillies as the setup to these amazing albums that would follow. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show at 1-800-449-8255, the Wolfman Jack on crack, that Clark the Shark with the speedy delivery, the golden tones, the golden words from the golden EIB Sharkraphone, baby. And I want to get into these songs because, of course the Kinks, they're a bluesy rock and roll, outfit, little down home thing. But this album is totally, completely different from the very bluesy country down home Muswell Hillbillies. Because on track 1, Here Comes Yet Another Day, the Kinks are rocking with this killer little 1970s track that's awesome. Yeah, I love Here Comes Yet Another Day. It kind of reminds me of like Warren Zevon or something. It's really cool. And I get like a Bruce Springsteen vibe too or something. But this is better than The Boss, baby. This is the Kinks. And Here Comes Yet Another Day. Just such a great way to lead off this album. Awesome. Love that song. Dave Davies, great guitar. It's bluesy, rock and roll, but done Kinks style. In a way, not really like what you'd expect from the Kinks. In a way, but yes, very much a Kinks sounding tune. Here Comes Yet Another Day. But I love the way the Kinks throw knuckleballs, sliders, change-ups. They even throw like a slurve, or like, what's that pitch that Fernando Valenzuela threw, man? I forget what it's called. It's like a curveball that goes the other way. Like the screwball, the Scroogey. Ray Davies and Dave Davies, man, they've got an arsenal, ammunition of pitches. And of course, Maximum Consumption brings you back a little bit to that Muswell Hillbillies vibe, I love it. I love that bluesy thing. It's cool, man. And Unreal Reality, killer. One of the best songs on the album. just more of why the Kinks are so great. But Hot Potatoes, Dave Davies, um, killer, man. I guess Ray wrote it, but it's just such a Dave Davies, Hot Potatoes. Um, it's got Dave Davies stamp just all over it. I love Hot Potatoes. Classic, awesome, melodic, atmospheric, great little guitars. I love that track, man. But one of the most classic Kinks songs ever, Sitting in My Hotel, where Ray, this song kind of borrows from that Beach Boys song on Friends, 1968. You can tell Ray really loved that opening song. And it's like he wrote all of Sitting in My Hotel just from that little opening riff, little tangent. I don't know if he did or didn't, but I love this keyboard-driven nice little atmospheric song. Maybe the best song on the album, Sitting in My Hotel, killer. But Motorway, one of the greatest Kinks songs, kind of a little vibe like I'm a Muswell hillbilly boy. Like that, but different. Motorway is just killer. Sounds like that Eddie Rabbitt song, Definitely. I don't know which song came first, but Motorway, I love the song, man. I think Eddie Rabbitt may have ripped that off. A great hook, catchy, melodic atmosphere. And I love the funny lyrics, like the bad food on the motorway, but it's a killer, man. And of course, You Don't Know My Name, Dave Davies, man. So ironic and funny. I love the Dave Davies stamped tracks. Love it. He's just like, I'm in a band. I'm with me brother Ray. Nobody knows me name. But I love it, And Supersonic Rocket Ship, one of the greatest Kinks songs. This album contains a bunch of the Kinks' greatest tracks. Love it, man. Little drumming, like little Cuban, like, I don't know, what do you call it? Like that Caribbean, like steel drums or I love it, dude. Supersonic Rocket Ship is awesome. It's almost like the Kinks are trying to get on the radio and sell out a little, Not quite as good as Lola, but that's definitely a track I've heard on the radio in my day, and I love it. And it's still a meaty, meat and potatoes Kinks song. Supersonic Rocket Ship. I love the atmospheres, the guitars, just the bluesy rock and roll feel. The Kinks really have a way with atmosphere, you guys. They're amazing. And Look a Little on the Sunny Side takes us back to Muswell Hillbillies. I love the Kinks' little downtrodden bluesy things, man. I love it. They do that more on the next albums, Preservation 1 and 2. But here on the Green Album, Everybody's in Showbiz. I love what the Kinks do with this album. It's so amazing. And of course, one of the greatest rock and roll songs ever written. Oh, dude. Celluloid Heroes, the mellow, acoustic, beautiful, textured, atmospheric, ambient. It's just a classic of rock music. One of the greatest songs in rock. And does this song make this whole album great? Yes and no. Celluloid Heroes, like Lola, like Victoria, like a bunch of, great Kinks songs, 20th Century Man, comes rocketing straight to mind. Bunch of the cool stuff off Arthur and Village Green from 68. But Celluloid Heroes, of course, recalls all the greatest Kinks tracks ever written. But it goes to another level, people. This is one of the greatest songs in rock and roll history. Top 25 songs of rock ever recorded. Celluloid Heroes by the Kinks, Everyone's a dreamer and everyone's a star and everyone's in showbiz Doesn't matter who you are, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, where I love all of you and I don't judge you, and I hope you don't judge me, and you can say I'm a great drummer. Or, I actually get bored if somebody walks up to me and they're like, hey, Clark the Shark, those people in the South Bay are wrong. Dude, you're a Swiss Army knife, bro. You can do it all, and I know it. I'm a witness, and I'm like, don't worry about it. If I die of skin cancer, you can get up there on the microphone, and I'd prefer all of you guys in the South Bay get up there and be like, Shark was a dick. Nobody liked Clark the Shark. We think he's an asshole, and that's the truth. And some people are like, well, that's not true. Sharky's cool. He does things like he pays for the whole plumbing job, like $2,300, and like nobody even says thank you and shit like that. Or, Clark the Shark is really confusing, man. I admit it. I love the mystery and just the weirdness of Clark the Shark. You can't figure me out at 1-800-449-8255. And this album should get all 5 stars, baby, but it only gets like 3. But let me tell you, you guys, the Kinks Green Album, Everybody's in Showbiz, in 1972. I want all of you to buy this album and support Ray and Dave Davies, 2 great songwriters. It's a bummer that Dave doesn't get more action on Kinks albums, but Dave Davies' solo albums are really good, and Dave's guitar playing is awesome. One of the greatest guitarists in rock. He puts his stamp on every Kinks album, you guys. But Ray Davies, you can't deny what a songwriter and what an amazing album. On a scale of 1 to 10, this one is a 13. Rated right there for you by Clark the Shark, right here on the most amazing talk radio show. And I'm really the only record, CD, vinyl reviewer you will need. You don't need anyone else. I mean, there's some of these other guys are good on YouTube. I kind of like the one guy, man. I've watched his stuff, and I don't agree with a lot of his stuff, but sometimes he does get it right. And some of these other guys, when they're talking about Uriah Heep, they almost get it right. I mean, that fucking one guy isn't even close. But usually when people talk about the Kinks, they get it wrong. You got to come to Clark the Shark and my huge vinyl collection that I bought mostly at the Rhodium in Torrance, but also at Go Boy Records back in the 80s, Redondo Beach, Oh, I forgot. Alternative Groove in Hermosa Beach, Mark Theodore, theologian. How can I forget him? People are emailing me. They're like, Clark the Shark, Hermosa Beach, bro, Pier Avenue. Come on, dude, Greenhouse Effect. You were always down there on your Strand Cruiser, bringing your tapes, I'm all right, I remember. 1-800-449-8255. I'm Clark the Shark, people. And you just got the word, the testimony, the gospel, the only review of the Kinks Green Album, 1972, Everybody's in Showbiz, and the fabulous, amazing storyteller, Ray Davies, you guys. One of the greatest geniuses in rock and roll. Pete Townsend, eat your heart out. Frank Zappa, man, forget you. You guys cannot touch the genius of all time, Ray fucking Davies. And all these Kinks albums, I want you to buy them all, especially if you're a young person born in 2002 and you're 21 right now in 2023. I want you to buy the Kinks and get into the Kinks. Fuck Dave Grohl. Don't get into him. Don't get into Blink-182. Don't get into Green Day. Don't get into Limp Bizkit or any of that fucking shit. You listen to Clark the Shark and you get into Ray Davies. You can get into Led Zeppelin, but I really just like Led Zepp 3. You can get into The Who, but they're good, at what they do. But Ray Davies is better, you guys. He is. And I want all of you to get into Ray Davies, Google him, read about his life and read about the Kinks and buy every album and learn about the Kinks, you guys, out there, because you heard it right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I'm out of here, people. I'll be back for more fun later. You can bet on that, baby. Clark the Shark. Peace.